Welcome to the world of science function. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Enjoy the listening. The alien council chamber buzzed with activity. Representatives from countless star systems filled the massive room, each species more exotic than the last. Their bioluminescent eyes, chitinous shells, and tendrilled faces reflected the myriad forms life could take across the galaxy. Despite their vast differences, they all shared one thing, a sense of superiority over the inhabitants of a certain blue planet. Humans, they believed, were little more than a cosmic joke, an anomaly that had somehow crawled out of their gravity well to meddle in the galaxy's affairs. And now, one of them had arrived at the council's doorstep. "Why does the Terran emissary insist on attending this session?" asked Supreme Arbiter Vela 9, her crystalline form shimmering with agitation. Her words resonated in tones that seemed to cut through the low hum of background conversations. "They claim they have a message of universal importance," replied an aide, a nervous creature with multiple arms that shuffled datapads between them. "It is unconventional, to say the least." "Unconventional," Vela 9 repeated, her crystalline facets refracting light in a display that hinted at disdain. "That's one way to describe their entire species." A low ripple of agreement passed through the gathered representatives. The last human delegation to visit had caused a minor interstellar incident by inadvertently introducing an Earth fungus that outcompeted a rare plant used for diplomatic ceremonies. The incident had only reinforced the galaxy's view of humans as well-meaning but disastrously clumsy. The chamber's doors slid open, and in strode Earth's representative, Captain Lena Mercer. She was an unassuming figure by galactic standards, average height, clad in a functional navy blue uniform with no adornments save for a small Earth insignia on her chest. Her auburn hair was tied back in a practical ponytail, and her face carried an expression of calm determination. The council fell silent, more out of morbid curiosity than respect. Mercer's entrance was accompanied by the whirring and beeping of a small robot hovering at her side, a spherical device covered in a patchwork of panels and blinking lights. It emitted a cheerful chirp, as if oblivious to the tension in the room. "Honored representatives," Mercer began, her voice steady and clear. "I bring greetings from Earth, and a message that may change the way you perceive us, and yourselves. We perceive you as reckless primitives who meddle in affairs far beyond your understanding," interjected a delegate with a carapace that glinted in shades of green and gold. "Pray tell, what revelation will dissuade us of that notion?" Mercer smiled, unfazed. "You might be surprised." The robot at her side beeped enthusiastically. "Greetings, esteemed galactic overlords. I am BOB, Binary Operational Beacon, at your service. I'm here to ensure my human companion's message is delivered with maximum efficiency and charm." A ripple of laughter spread through the chamber, though it carried an edge of mockery. Mercer let it wash over her, maintaining her composure. She reached into her jacket and produced a small, cylindrical device, which she placed on the central dais. It projected a hologram, a vibrant image of Earth, spinning against the backdrop of space. "This is where it all began," Mercer said. "A planet teeming with life, where billions of creatures coexist in an intricate web of interdependence. It's also a place of chaos, contradiction, and relentless curiosity. That curiosity led us to you. And yet, your curiosity has often led to less than stellar outcomes," said Vela 9. "Shall we recount the fungus debacle? Or the incident with the exploding confectionery?" "We're not perfect," Mercer admitted. "But neither is anyone else. The difference is, we're not afraid to learn from our mistakes. That's why I'm here. To propose something revolutionary." She paused, letting the tension build. Even the most skeptical delegates leaned forward slightly in their seats. "You've built this council to maintain order in the galaxy," Mercer continued. "But order isn't the same as progress. Order can stagnate. Progress requires chaos, the kind of chaos that disrupts, challenges, and forces us to adapt. That's what humans bring to the table." Vela 9's crystalline form dimmed slightly, a sign of deep thought or skepticism. "Are you suggesting that we embrace chaos? That we allow your species to disrupt the carefully balanced systems we've worked so hard to maintain?" Not chaos for its own sake, Mercer replied. But the kind of controlled chaos that sparks innovation. Humans are like a catalyst in a chemical reaction. We're not here to break your systems, we're here to make them better. The chamber erupted into a cacophony of voices. Some delegates nodded thoughtfully, while others waved appendages or flashed lights in vehement disagreement. Mercer stood her ground, her expression unwavering. "And what," Villanine asked once the noise subsided, "do you propose as evidence of this so-called catalytic effect?" Mercer gestured to Bob. The robot emitted a cheerful trill and began projecting a series of images and data streams. They showed examples of human ingenuity, medical breakthroughs, environmental restoration projects, and feats of engineering that had transformed Earth's most inhospitable regions into thriving habitats. "These are impressive," admitted a delegate with a flowing, jellyfish-like form. "But they are confined to your own world. What impact have you had beyond it?" "Allow me to demonstrate," Mercer said, her tone confident. She tapped a command into the cylindrical device, and the hologram shifted. It now displayed a model of an alien planet suffering from environmental collapse. Mercer's voice softened, carrying a note of urgency. "This is Cordaxis, a world on the brink of ecological disaster. We've studied it extensively, and we believe we can help. Not by imposing our solutions, but by collaborating with its inhabitants. By sharing ideas and learning from each other." The council fell silent. The fate of Cordaxis had been a contentious issue for years, with no consensus on how to address its plight. Mercer's proposal was audacious, but it struck a chord with those who had grown weary of endless debate. "And what," Villanine asked, her voice tinged with skepticism, "makes you think your species is capable of such a monumental task?" "Because we have no choice but to try," Mercer replied. "Humans don't give up. It's in our nature to face impossible odds and find a way through. And if we fail, we'll pick ourselves up and try again. That's what makes us dangerous. But it's also what makes us valuable." The room buzzed with whispered conversations. Mercer's words had sparked a mix of curiosity, skepticism, and cautious optimism. For the first time, the council saw humanity not as a nuisance, but as a potential ally in the unpredictable journey of galactic progress. As the session adjourned, Mercer caught Villanine's gaze. The Arbiter's crystalline form glimmered faintly, an unspoken acknowledgement of the human's audacity. Outside the chamber, Bob hovered beside Mercer, its lights blinking excitedly. "Well, Captain, I think that went rather well. Do you think they'll let us tackle Cordaxis?" Mercer smiled, her eyes glinting with determination. "One step at a time, Bob. One step at a time." The council chamber's atmosphere remained tense as the session reconvened the following day. Word of Captain Lena Mercer's audacious proposal had spread rapidly, fueling both intrigue and contention among the galactic delegates. Representatives whispered in clusters, their tones oscillating between skepticism and cautious optimism. For the first time in recent memory, the council seemed genuinely divided, a testament to the disruptive presence of humanity's envoy. Mercer stood at her assigned podium, her expression resolute. Bob hovered at her side, its blinking lights a stark contrast to the solemn ambience. The Supreme Arbiter, Villanine, rapped a crystalline appendage against her dais, calling the assembly to order. The room fell silent, every delegate turning their attention to the human and her eccentric companion. "Captain Mercer," Villanine began, her voice resonating with an authoritative hum. "You have made bold claims regarding your species' potential to act as a catalyst for progress. However, rhetoric alone will not suffice. This council requires tangible proof of your capabilities. How do you propose we proceed?" Mercer nodded, prepared for this challenge. "Honored Council, my team has developed a pilot initiative designed to address the ecological crisis on Cordaxis. We propose to implement this plan in collaboration with the Cordacian people and your scientific advisors. Our goal is to restore balance to their environment while demonstrating the efficacy of our approach." A murmur rippled through the chamber. The Cordacian delegate, a towering figure with iridescent scales that shimmered with every movement, stepped forward. Their deep, resonant voice filled the room. Captain Mercer, your proposal is ambitious. Many have attempted to aid our world and failed. What makes your plan different? Mercer gestured to Bob, who projected a detailed hologram of the Cardassian biosphere. The display highlighted areas of critical degradation alongside proposed solutions, hybrid technologies that merged human innovation with local knowledge. Our approach is holistic, Mercer explained. We've studied your planet's unique ecosystems and identified strategies that align with your natural processes. This isn't about imposing our methods, but co-creating solutions that respect and enhance your way of life. The Cardassian delegate studied the hologram, their scales shifting through a spectrum of muted hues, a sign of contemplation. And what assurance do we have that your intervention will not exacerbate the damage? Mercer's gaze was unwavering. We're prepared to be held accountable. Monitor our progress, scrutinize our methods, and terminate the project if we fail to meet your standards. But give us the chance to prove what humanity can achieve. Velanine interjected, her crystalline form glinting sharply. A chance that could cost the Cardassian people dearly. How can we justify such a risk? Before Mercer could respond, a voice emerged from the back of the chamber. It belonged to the jellyfish-like delegate who had previously expressed tentative support. Supreme Arbiter, with respect, risk is inherent in progress. The Cardassian crisis has stagnated under our traditional methods. Perhaps an unconventional approach is precisely what we need. A chorus of agreement and dissent followed, the chamber descending into a cacophony of voices. Velanine raised a crystalline appendage, the motion sending a wave of resonant vibrations that restored order. Very well, she said. We shall put this matter to a vote. Delegates, those in favor of allowing the human emissary to proceed with their proposal, signal your agreement now. The chamber's voting apparatus activated, casting beams of light in various colors as delegates registered their decisions. Mercer stood motionless, her heart pounding despite her composed exterior. Bob emitted a low hum, as though sharing her anticipation. When the results appeared on the central display, Mercer felt a surge of relief. The vote had passed, narrowly, but decisively. Velanina's facets dimmed slightly, signaling her reluctant acquiescence. The council has spoken, she declared. Captain Mercer, you are authorized to proceed. But be warned, failure will not be tolerated. The reputation of your species hangs in the balance. Mercer inclined her head in acknowledgement. Understood, Supreme Arbiter. We will not disappoint. The session adjourned, and Mercer was immediately swarmed by curious delegates. Some offered words of encouragement, while others bombarded her with pointed questions. The Cardassian delegate approached last, their scales shimmering in a hesitant pattern. Captain Mercer, they said, their tone guarded. Your confidence is unexpected. I hope, for both our sakes, that it is not misplaced. It won't be, Mercer replied. But this won't work without your people's trust and cooperation. This is your world. We're just here to help you save it. The delegate regarded her for a long moment before inclining their head in a gesture of cautious approval. Then let us begin. The following days were a whirlwind of activity. Mercer and her team set up a command center on Cordaxis, working alongside local scientists and engineers. The collaboration was fraught with challenges, cultural misunderstandings, unforeseen technical difficulties, and the ever-present skepticism of the Cardassian populace. One of the first hurdles came in the form of a delicate negotiation over resource allocation. The Cardaxians were fiercely protective of their dwindling natural reserves, and every proposed intervention was met with scrutiny. Mercer spent countless hours in meetings, navigating a labyrinth of objections and counterproposals. Captain, Bob said during a rare moment of respite, may I suggest a strategy to improve interspecies relations? Perhaps a gesture of goodwill, like hosting a cultural exchange? Mercer considered the idea. It's worth a shot. If they see us as partners rather than intruders, it might ease some of the tension. The exchange was organized within days, featuring demonstrations of human ingenuity alongside displays of Cardassian art and tradition. The event was met with cautious interest, and while it didn't erase all doubts, it marked a turning point. For the first time, the two species began to see each other not as adversaries, but as collaborators. As progress continued, Mercer found herself grappling with an unexpected complication. A faction within the Cortesian leadership opposed the project, viewing it as a violation of their sovereignty. Their leader, a stern figure named Zelvar, confronted Mercer during a site inspection. "Your presence here is an affront to our autonomy," Zelvar said, their scales flickering with anger. "How can we trust a species that does not even understand our ways?" Mercer met their gaze, her voice steady. "I understand your concerns, Zelvar. But this isn't about imposing our will. It's about working together to secure a future for your people. If there's a better way to do that, I'm listening." Zelvar's expression softened, though their skepticism remained. "Words are easy, Captain. Prove them with actions." Mercer nodded. "We intend to." Despite the opposition, the project began to show results. The first restored ecosystem, a vital wetland, started to recover, its native flora and fauna slowly returning. The success buoyed the team's spirits, but Mercer knew the hardest challenges lay ahead. The galaxy was watching, and failure was not an option. The restoration project's initial successes had garnered cautious optimism among the Cortesian populace, but the challenges were far from over. As Captain Lena Mercer stood in the heart of the rehabilitated wetland, watching newly returned avian creatures take to the skies, she knew the hardest part was still to come. She could feel the weight of the galaxy's expectations pressing down on her shoulders. It was in that moment of quiet reflection that an emergency alert blared from her communicator. "BOB, ever vigilant," hovered closer, its lights flashing urgently. "Captain," the robot chirped, "we have an incoming message from the command center. It appears to be critical." Mercer's brow furrowed as she activated the device. The holographic display projected the anxious face of her second-in-command, Dr. Ethan Cole. "Lena," Cole said, his voice tense, "we've detected a massive subterranean anomaly near the project site. It's emitting energy signatures we've never seen before. The local engineers believe it could destabilize the entire region. Have you identified the source?" Mercer asked, already heading toward the command center. Cole shook his head. "Not yet, but it's spreading fast. If we don't contain it, the wetlands, and everything we've achieved, could be lost." Mercer's jaw tightened. "Get the team ready. We're heading down there." The descent into the anomaly's epicenter was harrowing. The energy field distorted the environment, making navigation treacherous. Mercer, Cole, and a team of human and Cortesian scientists donned protective suits and ventured into the subterranean labyrinth. BOB's lights illuminated their path, but the further they went, the more alien the surroundings became. "Captain," BOB said, its tone unusually subdued, "the energy readings are intensifying. I recommend extreme caution." "Noted," Mercer replied. "Stay close and keep scanning." The team emerged into a vast cavern, its walls shimmering with an eerie, pulsating light. In the center of the chamber stood an enormous crystalline structure, unlike anything Mercer had ever seen. It pulsed rhythmically, as though alive. "What is that?" whispered one of the Cortesian engineers, their scales flickering in awe and fear. Cole stepped forward, his scanner emitting a series of rapid beeps. "It's some kind of energy conduit. But it's not natural. Someone or something put it here. Could it be responsible for the environmental collapse?" Mercer asked. "Possibly," Cole said. "If it's been draining energy from the planet's core, it could explain the instability." "Then we need to shut it down," Mercer said. The team worked quickly, analyzing the structure and devising a plan. But as they approached the crystal, a low, resonant hum filled the air, growing louder with each passing moment. The cavern seemed to vibrate, and the light from the crystal intensified. "Captain," BOB said, "the structure is reacting to our presence. I'm detecting an influx of energy. Something's activating." Before Mercer could respond, the crystal emitted a blinding burst of light. When her vision cleared, she saw that the cavern had changed. The walls now displayed intricate patterns of light and shadow, and in the center of the room stood a towering figure of pure energy, its form shifting and undulating. "Who dares disturb the keeper?" the figure intoned, its voice echoing through the chamber. The team froze, staring at the entity in stunned silence. Mercer, however, stepped forward, her heart pounding but her resolve firm. "I am Captain Lena Mercer, representative of Earth," she said. "We mean no harm. We're here to understand and repair the damage to this planet." The entity's form shifted, its energy patterns fluctuating. "This world is under my protection. Your interference threatens its balance." "With respect, Keeper," Mercer said, "the balance was already broken. We're trying to restore it." The Keeper's light dimmed slightly, as though considering her words. "You claim to seek restoration, yet your kind has brought chaos to countless worlds." Mercer met its gaze, or what she assumed was its gaze. "That may be true. But chaos isn't always destructive. It can also be a force for change, for growth. We're here to help, not harm." The entity was silent for a long moment. Then it extended an appendage of light toward Mercer. "Prove your intentions. If you truly wish to aid this world, you must undergo the trial of harmony. Only then will I grant you the knowledge to stabilize this planet." "What does the trial entail?" Mercer asked. "A test of unity," the Keeper replied. "You and your companions must work together to navigate the challenges ahead. Succeed, and you will earn my trust. Fail, and this planet will be lost." Mercer turned to her team, their faces a mixture of fear and determination. "We don't have a choice," she said. "We have to do this." The Keeper's appendage touched the crystal, and the cavern dissolved into a swirl of light. When the team's vision cleared, they found themselves in a new environment, a vast, shifting maze of energy and matter. The walls pulsed with a rhythmic glow, and the air was thick with tension. "Captain," Bob said, scanning the surroundings, "this maze appears to adapt to our movements. It's some kind of interactive puzzle." "Then let's solve it," Mercer said. "Stick together and keep communication open. We're not leaving until we've earned that Keeper's trust." The team moved cautiously through the maze, encountering a series of challenges that tested their ingenuity, teamwork, and resilience. At one point, they faced a corridor filled with shifting energy barriers. Another segment required them to decipher a complex sequence of patterns that only made sense when viewed through both human and Cardassian perspectives. As they worked together, the barriers between the species began to dissolve. Cardassian engineers marveled at human creativity, while the humans gained a newfound respect for Cardassian intuition and adaptability. Even Zelvar, who had reluctantly joined the team, began to soften. "Perhaps there is merit in your chaos," Zelvar admitted as they solved another puzzle. "You see solutions where we see only obstacles." Mercer smiled. "And your perspective keeps us grounded. We're stronger together." Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the team reached the maze's center. A pedestal stood before them, radiating a gentle, welcoming light. The Keeper appeared once more, its form less imposing and more serene. "You have passed the trial of harmony," it said. "Your actions have proven your intentions. I will share the knowledge you seek." The crystal began to glow, and streams of light flowed into the team's devices, downloading intricate data on how to stabilize Cordaxis. The Keeper's light dimmed, but its voice carried a note of warmth. "Remember this lesson, humans and Cordaxians. Unity, even amid chaos, can achieve the impossible." As the cavern returned to its original state, Mercer turned to her team, a sense of triumph and camaraderie washing over her. They had faced the unknown and emerged stronger, together. The triumph in the cavern marked a turning point not only for the team but also for the uneasy alliance between humans and Cordaxians. With the Keeper's data securely in hand, the team returned to the surface to begin the critical task of stabilizing the planet. The atmosphere among the crew was buoyant yet cautious. They knew the real challenge lay in implementing the knowledge they had gained. At the command center, Mercer and her team worked tirelessly, translating the Keeper's complex energy algorithms into actionable plans. The data revealed that the crystal structure beneath the wetlands had been a part of an ancient planetary network designed to regulate Cordaxis's environmental systems. Over millennia, the network had fallen into disrepair, leading to the ecological collapse they now faced. "We'll need to reboot the entire system," Dr. Ethan Cole explained during a briefing. "It's like jump-starting a planetary heart. The risk is enormous, but if we pull it off, Cordaxis will have a fighting chance." The plan required a simultaneous activation of several key nodes spread across the planet. Teams were dispatched to each location, composed of both humans and Cordaxians, their collaboration now a symbol of the fragile unity that had been forged in the trials. Mercer led the effort at the central node, located deep within the wetlands. The once desolate landscape was beginning to show signs of life, a testament to their initial efforts. Still, the looming activation filled her with unease. The stakes were higher than ever. "Captain," Bob chirped as they approached the activation site, "I've run the simulations again. The margin for error is statistically concerning." Mercer chuckled despite the tension. "When has it ever been anything else, Bob? Let's get to work." The activation process was painstakingly intricate. As the team synchronized their equipment with the ancient network, the wetlands hummed with a low, resonant energy. Each step brought them closer to the moment of truth, but also heightened the risk of catastrophic failure. At the command center, the global activation countdown began. Mercer's voice crackled through the comms as she coordinated with the other teams. "Team Delta, report." "Node synchronized," came the reply. "Team Sigma, status?" "Ready on your mark, Captain." As the final seconds ticked away, a tremor shook the wetlands. The crystal structure beneath their feet began to glow, its light pulsing in rhythm with the energy surges from the other nodes. "It's working," Cole said, his voice a mixture of awe and anxiety. "The network is coming online." But just as the team began to breathe a sigh of relief, alarms blared. A cascading energy spike threatened to overload the entire system. Mercer sprang into action, her mind racing. "Shut down the auxiliary conduits," she ordered. "Divert the flow to the stabilization matrix." Bob hovered beside her, its lights flickering. "Captain, that maneuver could destabilize the node." "The risk is better than total failure," Mercer interrupted. "Do it." The team scrambled to execute her commands. For a moment, the entire network teetered on the brink of collapse. Then, with a sudden, harmonious pulse, the energy flows stabilized. The light from the crystal structures spread outward, illuminating the wetlands in a breathtaking display. Across Cordaxis, similar scenes played out. The ancient network, long dormant, surged back to life. Ecosystems began to recover at an accelerated rate, their intricate balances restored by the Keeper's guidance and the combined efforts of two once distant species. As the activation sequence concluded, Mercer allowed herself a moment to breathe. She glanced at her team, their faces lit with a mixture of exhaustion and triumph. "We did it," she said softly, the weight of their accomplishment sinking in. In the days that followed, the transformation of Cordaxis became evident. Rivers flowed clean and strong, forests regrew with vibrant intensity, and species thought lost began to reappear. The collaborative efforts between humans and Cordaxians had not only saved a planet but also sparked a new era of understanding and respect. The council reconvened to review the outcome of the project. This time, Mercer stood before them not as an unproven emissary but as a representative of a species that had demonstrated its worth. "Honored delegates," Mercer began, her voice steady and confident, "what we achieved on Cordaxis was not the work of one species alone. It was the result of collaboration, of embracing differences and finding strength in unity. This is what humanity offers to the galaxy, a willingness to take risks, to challenge conventions, and to grow together." Supreme Arbiter Velanine observed her with an expression that was unreadable but not dismissive. When she finally spoke, her crystalline tones carried a note of reluctant admiration. "Captain Mercer," Velanine said, "while I remain wary of your species' penchant for chaos, I cannot deny the results of your efforts. The Council acknowledges humanity's contribution to Cordaxis and extends its gratitude. Applause rippled through the chamber, a sound Mercer had not expected but welcomed nonetheless. She inclined her head, a small smile playing at her lips. As she left the chamber, Bob hovered beside her, its lights blinking with excitement. "Captain, that was a stellar performance. Do you think they'll invite us back?" Mercer laughed. "Who knows, Bob. But if they do, we'll be ready." Outside, the skies of Cordaxis were a testament to what had been achieved. Birds soared through the air, their songs mingling with the rustle of wind through newly regrown trees. For Mercer, it was more than a mission accomplished, it was proof that even in the face of doubt and adversity, humanity could rise to meet the challenge. And for the galaxy, it was a reminder that sometimes, the most unlikely messengers could bring about the greatest change. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories.